Okay. Hello, everybody. This is another talking video again. This is the second take, I guess. Originally, I wanted to do a talking and patching video, but you can see the patching's already happened. I was just trying to talk through it, and it's a lot more difficult, obviously, to talk about a specific thing that you're trying to get across, whereas the last talking video I did, it was just sort of mucking around with the DX7. But now we've got the modular here. And what I've set up here is a patch that sort of demonstrates the idea that I've been talking about recently with my friends, and I made a couple of videos about, which is making music that doesn't have a set time signature. Still a pulse, but the performer isn't limited to to a time signature, and and I've sort of worked on this type of music because of modular synthesis. It's quite easy to do that with automated systems, like function generators or like cycling function generators and sequences and random voltage signals and stuff. You can create these layers of repeating patterns that morph and change, and they all work together to create sort of one sound. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So in this setup, I've got three voices. The bass part is done by the Mother 32. We've got like sort of the high frequency part being done by the STO, which is going into the 2HP filter, which then in turn goes into Clouds, or the Clouds clone that I have. And then sort of the big meat and potatoes part of the sound is the DPO, which is, as I've said before, my favorite module by far. What I've got it set. Another thing as well that I like to do with this music is have the frequency information, like the pitch information, not be definite pitch, and instead use each of the different oscillators to affect each other, so that we don't get sort of many definite pitches. I also have a couple of other techniques that I use. So like, for instance, the pitch that's coming from the Metropolix is going into the first channel oscillator, and then the second channel oscillator is the one that we're hearing, and so we have the FM bus here manipulating each of them. And so that's, instead of it just being a direct pitch into the second oscillator, I'm using the first one to frequency modulate the second. And so we get a much more different sound. Then I have some other things around it as well, like I've got this knob here to control the octave of the second channel, the second oscillator with the final output. And then also as well, I've got the random output from the tie module, affecting how much the frequency affects. But it's a pretty simple patch. Like, obviously, like all things in Modular, it's all, there's cables and everything everywhere, but it's not like I'm doing any complex patching with maths. Maths is really just being two function generator envelopes, and then we've got, channel 2 and 3 are just normal attenuators. I'm not doing anything fancy there. And then these two functions that I have over here are just cycling functions, and I'm only really taking out the end of rise and the end of cycle outputs and using them as like further random gating on what would be stagnant rhythms. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to turn that down. I'm just going to run this for a sec. So here we've got This is the Mother 32. Sounds pretty good. But if we listen to the rhythm, it's a near random rhythm, right? There will be a point where it cycles back on itself. But the way I'm doing that is by using function. So if we take out this part here, and we just take the original gate that I've got here. This is just the click coming from the Metropolix. It's being malted from here. That's what we're getting. A real steady driving pulse, right? But instead what I've done is I'm putting it into the VC mix on the Mother 32, and then the VC mix, what do they call it? The VC mix control is being controlled by the up and down, end of rise, end of cycle, and it's only coming out on the end of cycle. So when it goes red, I think it is, that's now gated the click track, and so it goes in. But then to add more confusion, or more interest, let's call it interest, is that I've got the I have my the LFO from this controlling, like it's attenuated here, and it's controlling the rise level. So we're getting fluctuations, and we can see that fluctuation here. So it's not a consistent rhythm. So by using sort of two stages of gating or randomness, we can get a much more interesting pulse. And so here's the final product. And if I wanted to, I can affect it. If I turn down the fall all the way, we just get the consistent pulse. And then the fall is the breaking, those breaks that we get. But if you listen to this, right, it's got a rhythmic energy to it, right? A rhythmic intensity. Now, obviously, I am playing the keyboard pretty straight, and normally in my setup, I would actually have the pitch being controlled by something else. But just the way that I've patched this one, the pitch information is only coming from this keyboard, which is coming through the MIDI here. But let's listen to the other sounds. Let's see what we've got in here. So. So that's my higher part, right? And the pitch information is coming from this keyboard, which this is, let's say this now. The keyboard that I use here is just a like a Yamaha. It's just a Yamaha PSR, like little student keyboard, this one, but it's lightweight and has a DIN MIDI output, which most of my other keyboards don't have. But it's great. It means I can put my pedals on here or my stupid sunglasses. But yeah, so, and then the pitch information for that particular one is coming from this keyboard, but the rhythm of it is coming from the tie, and it's just coming out of the click output there. So if we listen to it now, and I've got, normally I have this set up with the arpeggiator, so we get a bit of movement there. and it's going through clouds, and clouds is just on the lo-fi delay setting. But if you listen to that as well, it's also random. We've got that same click controlling the click for the tie, and then we've just got the click output from tie. Randomly giving us interesting rhythms there. This thing is always so cool. Just adds some, modulation, random modulation in interesting ways. I really do like that purchase. And then as well, I also have that same sort of gate idea coming from the second functions. This second functions does that gating thing that this one does, but it's a lot simpler, and the two sides of it are going through the two different voices that we have up the top part here. Right, so then we bring this back in. So you can still feel a pulse, but it doesn't at all at any point really feel like it has a time signature to it. And that part, that idea is shown more in the third voice. So I'm going to turn these guys down. And that's the delay going off. The third voice we've got here with the Metropolix and the DPO. Let's have a listen to it. Now I'm going to just turn off the delay. So now we're getting a lot of indefinite pitch. And so let's see, where did I take this from? It's just from that, okay. So the this function, its CV output is controlling the fold amount, just barely, just a bit on this. Now, another thing I've done is I've also taken, where is it? So the other side of this function, the end of rise output, is controlling if it's a long fall or a short fall. So we get these long notes occasionally and then short notes. But now here's the fun part, is like I feel like such a cool part of the Metropolix is with a flick of a switch I can make this a totally different rhythm now that's of a different time signature. So now we try and put everything together. yeah, that's something. That's like, it's not a perfect performance, but I think that demonstrates the idea. I'd love to see, like, obviously, other people have done this sort of thing before, um, but it sort of feels like the only way that I would probably enjoy making a techno-y kind of music. But it's fun. It's really, really fun. It's so liberating to like not have to worry about, oh, I need to like make sure this happens right now. It's sort of a way that you can sort of fiddle around with it and it doesn't matter. And I think it's very aggressive. It's got this, real intensity to the music. And it's, I haven't really felt something like that with normal 4/4 stuff. Kind of over it. Anyways, thanks for watching.